First and foremost, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, also the true Hope Black Messiah, the King of Kings, royalty himself, Yahweh Shah, Mashiach. Also the final Father, true Father, one West. This is Father Kings coming right back at you yet with another lesson. This lesson is intended for the 12 tribes of Israel, which consists of the so-called blacks, the so-called Hispanic, and the so-called Native American Indians. To you, I say, Shalom. I'm going to title this lesson. This lesson is going to be intended for you women. It's going to be called the commandment that was given to all the commandments, the commandment that was given to women, starting with Eve, which is the so-called African American woman and the so-called Latino woman. The law was first given to you, and then the law was passed down. Eventually, will be passed down to all the other nations. But the law was given that the other nation was supposed to serve us. I did a lesson on that a while back in the book of Genesis. But first, let me get the scriptures real quick in Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. This is Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. And sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be there towards thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So, women, the commandment that the Most High gave women to do, we command them. This is not him asking you to do this. It's him telling you to do this. It's a commandment. The commandment was for the woman to be her desire to be towards her husband, meaning that her whole job was supposed to be towards her husband, not this westernized society that we're currently living in, where it's women with women. Women have a masculine role in the society. The women serve authority over the man. That is completely out of the urgency in the order of the Most High Yahweh. He commanded the woman to desire their husbands. And that's why the world is so out of whack, because the women is playing a role of the men, and the men playing a role of the women. Let's get that in scripture real quick. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22. They will not read that in so-called churches, those pagan churches, so-called. And actually, the word church means assembly. And the assembly is the nation of Israel. When you in the New Testament tells you about that. But let me get right back on topic here. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22. How long wilt thou go, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord Yahweh has created a new thing in the earth. A woman should compass a man. And that's what we seeing now. We seeing a westernized society where women don't even desire a man. Now look, you're probably wondering why I got heathen women in the circle. The heathen women come into place because they was supposed to serve us. That was part of the blessing that Isaac blessed Jacob with. So if anyone, brothers or sisters, got a problem with the heathen women in this picture, I mean, you need to read your scriptures, because the scripture says that the nation was supposed to serve us. When you read the book of Genesis, tell you about how all the nations of the earth, all the families of the earth will be blessed through Abraham. That's one point that I can make, precept. Another precept is when the blessing of Abraham that was passed to Isaac, that was passed to Jacob, which is Israel today. So the other nation of women also was supposed to serve us along with our own women. That's what's going to happen in the kingdom, whether people want to believe it or not. That's really going to happen. So that commandment was pretty much given to all women, really, but it started. Initially, it was given initially to the so-called black woman and the so-called Latino woman, which is the Israelite woman. It is primarily designated to them, and through them, it transpired throughout the earth, and it's going to go back to that when we get into the kingdom. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 20, verse 26, and this is the law. This is the law, by the way. Genesis chapter 3, verse 16 is a commandment. And we're going to read one of the most wickedest things than you could think of. than the most wicked thing than the most vicious criminal is this right here. We're about to read it. Ecclesiastes chapter 26, verse 26. A woman that honor her husband should be judged wise of all. But she that is honor him in her pride should be counted ungodly of all. That's heavy. That means in the day of judgment, this particular woman, this spirit, would be counted ungodly of them all, man. That's a scary point to be in the day of judgment, you know. And women on this side, which is the westernized side, in this day society, start with the Western Hemisphere, because them other countries ain't like this country here. You know, they look past men like, oh, men ain't nothing. And they don't know that it's going to lead them to an eternal demise. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. Also, the true Hope Black Messiah, the King of Kings, royalty himself, Yahweh Shah, Mashiach. Also, the final Father, true Father, one West. This is for all the kings coming right back at you yet with another lesson. Shalom, Israel. Come back, Shalom. Shalom, Israel. Fallen kings.